My name is Jennifer Militello. I am an associate professor of creative writing and also the director of the MFA program in creative writing. The laureateship is a role with a really rich history. It is just an individual who is able to promote poetry and increase the visibility of poetry in the state. For me, it means visit high schools, take part in festivals, judge book contests, do a lot of readings around the state, being available as someone who can bring poetry to the community. One of the nice things especially about it, when I go into high schools, for example, a lot of those kids have never met a poet before, so I'm able to be the kind of representation for poetry for them. So it's really exciting. This has really brought me out into the world in a larger way. The thing that I have learned is that more people love poetry than I would have anticipated. So there is no end to the number of people who would like to invite me or would like to meet me or would like to talk to me about poems. So it feels like, what I had kind of thought was maybe a little bit of a shallow puddle, the kind of very specialized area of poetry, is actually a kind of really huge ocean of love for the genre. So that's been kind of a wake-up call for me in a really great way. For me, there are two things that sort of spark poems for me, and they kind of come together. One would be the things that I sort of encounter in the world every day as I move through it. So things I see, encounters I have, voices I hear, but then also I think strong emotions and memories. So joy, pain, difficulty. I'm able to say to students, poems are about your life, and the writing of poems is about your life. So you should mine your experience, you should mine your memories, you should mine your feelings. They are all there for you. You get the opportunity to just put that into language. And so it kind of moves them from a place where they think poems are about being very scholarly, being very academic, doing a kind of analysis, right, which you kind of learn in high school. And they start to shift and transition and begin to realize that poetry is really about their experience. First of all, they have the opportunity to have a dedicated space for their writing. Just by being fully immersed, just by having that space dedicated to writing, that is going to be such a huge gift for them as writers. So they're going to grow exponentially in ways that happen very quickly and surprise them. But then in terms of me individually as a professor, they're going to have what I consider to be a really important balance. They're going to have the support of me saying, here is where you are succeeding. But then they're also going to have the challenge where I say, here is what you can do to make this work better. Here is who you should read. Here is what you should look at. Here is what you should try. And they're just going to have that developed eye. Have this institution that's really committed to the arts, really committed to supporting these writers, of offering them this beautiful campus, these incredible residencies, these amazing instructors, but also the program is offering them each other. So they are not only learning from hearing all of these instructors talk about writing and being in this really rich environment, but also from watching their peers change and grow and try new things. There is almost nothing more important for writers than a kind of cross-pollination. Part of that is reading new work. Part of that is paying attention to the world. But the other part of that is the opportunity to talk about one's work with this close-knit community of writers. You have these ideas, you have these thoughts, you have these drafts that you're working on in isolation. That's an important part of the process. But again, you're going to be working differently on your own. And then once you bring that into a workshop and your peers are commenting on it, and you're having a conversation over dinner about a poem you love or something you're just reading, and everyone else is kind of writing the name of that book down, and then you're like, I'm trying this, or how's this working? That cross-pollination is priceless, and it just leads to that incredible growth that I think you really can't get anywhere else. Dive right in. Grab the bull by the horns wholeheartedly. Don't be afraid to put some words on the page, try new things. Think about starting with a line from someone else's poem, or try to do some timed writing, just so that you're not thinking self-consciously about the work that you're doing. So you kind of let yourself off the hook. Trust the process. Trust that your brain knows a lot and you can follow the writing where it wants to go. And also find your people, find your community. If you haven't had the opportunity to really immerse yourself in the kind of community that an MFA program offers, or that a writing group offers, it's going to make a big difference. I feel like poetry is more important at the moment than it has ever been. We are spending so much time in very large online spaces that are very quick moving, and attention is really compromised and used up, and it really almost literally keeps us from understanding what we think, what we feel, what we see, what we experience. So poetry not only slows us down and gives us an opportunity to spend some time in our own brains to find out what we're thinking and feeling, but it also gives us an opportunity to express that. Once you start writing some poems and start to realize what it feels like to put what you are experiencing on the page, that's going to be a life changer for you. And the beautiful thing is that once you've done that, you realize that that work is not just about expressing it for yourself, but it's about connecting with other people who have the same experience. Robert Frost said we write poems to feel less alone. And when you read a poem by someone who has been through something similar to you, that sense of being connected and understood has about 7,000 layers to it, and it's really priceless, really incredible. There is literally no better institution you could go to for creative writing. One of the beautiful things about NEC's program is that we not only have this incredible undergraduate program, but we also have the MFA. We have the whole package. And so that means that the writing community is a multi-tiered writing community. It is a rich writing community. We have a literary magazine. We have student readings. We have some of the most well-known writers in the country teaching in the MFA program and visiting during the MFA program residencies. We have this really beautiful campus that is actually sort of quintessential New England writer space with our white buildings and our river and our covered bridge. You cannot find a better place to study creative writing. Jump on board, find your people, we're here.